For today's video, we're going to be taking a dive into the former ninth planet in our solar system, the distant celestial body, Pluto. There have been many discoveries in recent years leading to the likely conclusion that Pluto will lose its atmosphere within the next 5 to 10 years. To many of us who are fascinated by the planet and miss calling it our ninth planet in our solar system, almost forming a bond with the planet in a way, this is quite depressing. The reason for this abrupt demise of the atmosphere of our icy planet slash large asteroid is because of the fact that as time goes on, Pluto becomes more and more distant from the Sun. On certain parts of its orbit, it's closer to the Sun than on others. Recently, due to being very distant from the Sun for quite some time, the surface temperatures are dropping, and this is causing the atmosphere to refreeze onto the surface as opposed to staying where it needs to be. Pluto's atmosphere is reliant on vapors from its icy surface to supply the atmosphere with the necessary gases it needs to be a healthy atmosphere. But lately, it's become incredibly cold, and the atmosphere is refreezing onto the surface. Now, we're used to things in space happening over very long periods of time, but this is happening rather quickly. Due to our recent discoveries, we've been able to measure the atmospheric pressure of the planet by a process called occultation, which can help us accurately determine the density of a planet's atmosphere by measuring how long it takes to pass by a starlit background. Recently, it took about 2 minutes to cause the star to disappear from sight, then reappear when Pluto passed by the background. Now, as I've said before, Pluto gets close enough to the Sun in certain parts of its orbit to gain the necessary heat it needs to maintain its atmosphere. No problem, right? Well, actually, there's a big problem. Pluto takes a staggering 238 Earth years to complete a full orbit around the Sun, so the atmosphere is disappearing faster than Pluto can hurry its way back to a warmer part of its orbit. If only our space traveling abilities were more advanced, maybe we can help our distant icy comrade. But it appears the fate of Pluto's atmosphere is looking rather bleak, and we have little choice but to sit and watch it happen. What troubles many astrobiologists is that with the loss of its atmosphere, Pluto's chance of harboring life becomes incredibly slim, as if finding life in our universe outside of the Earth hasn't been hard enough in our early attempts. A planet with an atmosphere can only harbor the most stubborn extremophiles that can survive unbelievably harsh conditions. For example, if Earth were to lose its atmosphere, all life on Earth would cease to exist, except, of course, a few microbes that can survive in harsh conditions. Unfortunately, these types of microbes aren't the type that usually evolve into complex multicellular organisms. I guess this rules out looking for life on Pluto. After all, how can life on Pluto even exist to begin with? Isn't it far too cold for any life forms? Well, yes, for the most part. However, there are scientists who think that there's a possibility for oceans on Pluto beneath its thick, icy sheet. Now, it's estimated that this ice layer, if it even has liquid water beneath, is roughly 200 miles thick. Wow, that would take quite some time for us to get the technology to Pluto that could actually dig through that thick layer of ice and see if we strike gold, which is, in this case, liquid water. But unfortunately, it's very likely that the atmosphere on Pluto will disappear far before we can even entertain such an idea. Now, as most of this is on the rather depressing side, there are a few positive notes. Pluto is definitely not the main planet in our solar system in which we hope to find alien life. In fact, it's probably closer to the bottom of the list. The planets and moons that we feel have more likelihood of extraterrestrial life are still in great condition, and it doesn't look like their atmospheres are disappearing anytime soon. One of the main such celestial bodies includes one of Jupiter's moons, Europa. And another interesting thing that comes in all of this is our view of Pluto. So, even though we're gazing out to a distant planet that is very likely to be void of any potential alien life, the disappearing of the planet's atmosphere will cause sunlight reflecting off the planet to be much brighter, and our view of the planet will be way more detailed and aesthetic due to the increased brightness. I find this incredibly exciting, as it gives us something about Pluto to look forward to in the future, instead of Pluto just becoming a thing of the past. And to me, it's ironic that soon after we remove Pluto from our list of planets, it's going to soon be more visible and more real than ever. Just something to think about. Anyways, as it is, there are four other dwarf planets that are deemed official dwarf planets by the International Astronomical Union. The main reason these planets are considered dwarfs are mainly because of their size, but I feel like the name dwarf planet is a dead giveaway. In fact, all these planets, including Pluto, are smaller than the moon. But Pluto is still the big brother of them all, as it is the largest of all five dwarf planets. It is also by far the brightest, even before gaining the extra illumination that it's about to gain in the very near future. This shows us why Pluto was the first of all dwarf planets to be discovered, as it's always been easier to see than the others. And we will soon get to see a much more detailed and visible Pluto than ever before. And if you ask me, this is very exciting. Alright everyone, thanks for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.